the Texas District 23, I liken it to like a dual-sided wrench, right? It's like the western side of San Antonio to the eastern side of El Paso. So it has more border frontage in that district than any district in the country. And it's just insane. You see a lot of these border towns and whatnot are dealing with this problem every day. And you have the class of rich liberal intellectuals that can postulate about these things, but they don't have to see it. They're isolated from it. So they get to have these, fantastical opinions about, oh, this is the way we should be treating them, and oh, I can't believe you do that. But they're not seeing the fact that, and now a statistically important percentage of the U.S. population in the last 5 years, the increase in the U.S. population has come from illegal immigrants crossing the southern border.
You know what the number is?
I heard the term 5 million, or the figure 5 million the other day in the last, I think since Biden took office. I'm not sure if that's correct.
I imagine that so many of them are undocumented.
Yeah.
5 million that are aware, people are aware of. So like, is the sentiment?
There's no real way to know.
What's the sentiment of the people in the 23rd district? Like,
from especially not only just from common sense, but from all the polling that we're doing, is like the immigration issue is the number one issue in the district. These people are fed up with it, and they're fed up with the way that politicians are handling it.
How would you protect the district? What would you do different?
So I like a lot of like Chip Roy's stuff, some of the stuff he's put up, which like Tony has actively worked against. Tony Gonzalez, the incumbent Republican I'm running against, because it's basically just trying to shut down the border entirely. Which is
what the guy is trying to do.
What Chip Roy, yeah, Chip Roy is actually, I would say, a really, really good Republican. He runs the district at Bernie, Texas, right down the road from me. That district. He's got some really, really good stuff. Like he's a very firm border guy.
Shut it down. Like what would that? First of all, what does it even look like? Is it just flat? People can just walk across a sidewalk, or is there a river?
It depends. There's a river there. That's a lot of the viral footage that's gone around the internet lately, where they had the buoys with the quote unquote saw blades in the middle.
Oh yeah.
But they got to remove those now.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of moves by the Biden administration to actively remove border barricades and things like that.
Were those put up by locals?
They were put up by the state, I believe.
And it's like they were floating buoys with literal saw blades between the buoys, so if people swim through.
Razor wires, isn't it?
I looked at it. It's not like a malicious looking saw blade. It looks like a piece of sheet metal that has a jagged edge there.
It was cutting people and killing them or something.
I don't
trying
think
to cross.
No. It's obstructing U.S. waterways. That's why they have to remove it.
Okay. So
that's it.
When you say shutting down, what would a shutting down of the border look like? Because I feel like it's not like, what does that mean exactly?
Well, there's a lot of Border Patrol folks, especially, that are tasked with managing that section of the border that aren't given the equipment and anything that they need. So that they're purposely being, I guess, suppressed in that way. There's a lot of frustration and a lot of folk.
Is the headline, headline from the New York Daily News: 2 bodies found stuck in Rio Grande floating barrier along U.S.-Mexico border, according to Mexican officials.
Yeah.
If you didn't know saw blades were in there, you might try and swim and climb over it.
But I don't know if there's saw blades in there.
I don't think the saw blades were the reason why they died.
Yeah,
it's something that's also not really talked about very often, is that finding dead migrants is just a thing that happens in that part of Texas all the time. Like there's a ranch down the road in Uvalde that we go to a lot that has had issues with that, where like there are literally dead migrants will wash up and they just find them. And that's a good 2 hours in from the border.
I feel like historically it's been the most, when countries have had to deal with mass migration like against their will, that it's been the most gruesome defensive measures have been taken, and they just don't document it. Because like otherwise, or you hear about the Roman Empire getting overthrown by the immigration.
And let me be really clear. This is not like U.S. defensive border policy that's killing them. It's just the elements. If you've ever tried to walk anywhere in Texas with limited provisions for days at a time, that is a very, very deadly venture if you're not careful.
Walk a mile like today outside here. Never mind through the desert in Texas.
From Texas is like over 100 for the entire time I was there.
Yeah, the entire last week I was just back in San Antonio. It's like 107 degrees is kind of the normal in the middle of the day.
What would be an example of U.S. defensive measures?
A wall.